Hello and welcome to my channel, I Win to Lose Gaming. In today's video, we're going to be trying something new, and we'll be taking a look at how powerful a quote-unquote peak potential Constellation 3 Raiden is, both with the free-to-play weapon, the Catch, and her signature weapon, the Engulfing Lightning. If you're like me, when you saw Raiden, you couldn't resist her. As such, my Raiden is at a shockingly expensive Constellation 6. This video is to serve a few purposes. The first is for the purpose of the entertainment variety as you watch Raiden dominate, or not, depending on your perspective, everything in her path. But really quick, today we have a really low-key sponsor. Raid Shadow Legends. Raid Shadow Legends is dominating everything because the number of collectible heroes is outrageous. There are millions of players and it's available on both mobile and PC. Destroy that link in the description below or scan the QR code on your screen right now to get started with Raid. Here are my top 5 waifus of Raid Shadow Legends. Starting off at number 5, the Shadowkin waifu Riho. Who needs clothes when you have body paint? And number 4 is none other than Yumiko, cause who needs clothes when you have hair? And can we appreciate the number 3 waifu on this list, who is the undead Little Miss Annie? Who needs clothes when you've got a freaking hole in your entire chest? That's just so wholesome. The number 2 waifu in Raid is none other than the Commander. It's nice to actually see some proper armor for once in a video game. And the uncontested best waifu in Raid is none other than Gerda Bogbrew. What a beauty. And did you know, the fastest way to level up your champions is through farming the campaign. You can grind loads of EXP and silver all at the same time. And if you want an even bigger head start, all you have to do is hit the link in the description below or scan the QR code right here. New players will get an epic hero, Vergis, 200k silver, 1 EXP boost, 1 energy refill, and 1 ancient shard, so you can summon an awesome champion as soon as you get in game. You will find your rewards here in your inbox for the next 30 days only. I wanted to thank all of you for your support and Raid Shadow Legends for sponsoring this video. The second purported purpose is to gauge how close you are to a quote-unquote peak potential Constellation 3 Raiden. As for those non-Constellation Raiden owners, you guys can see the gap between your Raiden and this Raiden. Finally, I will provide my advice on what you should prioritize for your Raiden in terms of constellations and weapons. So even though my Raiden is at Constellation 6, fortunately she is relatable to the 23% of you who got her to Constellation 2 or 3 according to this poll, because her Constellations 4 through 6 do not improve her burst damage. And heck, even Constellation 0 to 1 Raiden owners can be better equipped to decide whether or not they want to go for Constellations 2 to 3 during her next rerun. I'll be showcasing her with both the Catch and the Engulfing Lightning at Refinement 5. We'll take a look at her solo damage, her team damage, her nuke damage, and even her nuke damage with different levels of supports. Not everyone has Constellation 2 Kazuha with a Refinement 5 Freedom Sword, so for lower budget Raidens, I will also demonstrate how whale supports affect her damage as well. And of course, this video comes to you completely free of charge. But if you're feeling extra generous, you can smash that subscribe button down below to get your regular fill of Genshin showcases and guide videos. Now we can finally take a look at what her builds look like throughout this video, and of course her damage potentials as well. Hopefully this video also will demonstrate what type of artifacts you should be targeting for your Raiden. With the Catch, I am using an attack percent goblet, and her general use damage potential is at 84%. This is a stellar damage potential and is much higher than my peak potential free-to-play series where I generally target 70% damage potential. Now swapping over to the Engulfing Lightning, my Raiden's damage potential is a bit lower at 82%. This is due to the obscene amount of attack that the Engulfing Lightning provides her, and honestly in this case, an Electro Goblet would be better, but I do not have an on-set Electro Goblet. Anyway, I also have a couple nuke setups where the damage potential doesn't matter as much since it's a nuke setup. The artifacts I use for my nuke build are the same across both weapons. As for the supports, I'm ecstatic
Stop it. Get some help.
to bring you less wailed versions of them. Since both Bennett and Sara are on this banner, if you have Constellation 3 Raiden, you have a very good chance of having Constellation 5 Bennett and Constellation 6 Sara. However, weapon-wise, you may not have their best 5-star options. As such, my budget Bennett is using the Festering Desire and my budget Sara is using the Prototype Crescent. Kazuha is using the Iron Sting. For the whale versions of these characters, Bennett is using the Aquila Favoni or Mist Splitters, and Sara is using the Skyward Harp. Kazuha is of course using the Freedom Sword. Oh my goodness. That was a ton of setup for a simple showcase, but I always want to provide full transparency in my showcases so you can have the best idea of how your characters compare. We can finally get started with a Constellation 3 Raiden with the catch and full resolve. The initial slash with the catch managed to do 109,382 damage with basically no setup, and it was completely trivial for Raiden to take out the Regisvine even with the catch and an 84% damage potential general use build. Now with the Refinement 5 Engulfing Lightning, that's exactly what it did to our poor Regisvine friend as it engulfed it in lightning and one-shotted it with the first slash, which did 191,654 damage, even with this general use build. Now after factoring in the bonus crit rate from the catch, here is the average damage they did. The Engulfing Lightning at Refinement 5 did 62.3% more average damage in comparison to the catch. And don't worry, I did the math for a Refinement 1 Engulfing Lightning, which would do 26.7% more damage in comparison to the catch. This might seem like a stunningly large difference, but why don't we actually see how they perform with full teams in a nuking scenario? The first team is utilizing the catch and budget supports with food. With this full team of supports, Raiden with the catch did a massive 732,760 damage nuke, even with just the catch and 4-star weapons on the supports. This is actually insane given that this is using a completely free-to-play, fishable weapon. But what if we gave my supports their usual 5-star weapons? After providing my supports with their best in slot options, now with the catch, Raiden managed to do 891,985 damage with the initial slash. Frankly, I can see Constellation 3 Raiden with the catch hitting 1 million damage someday, or perhaps someone has already done that. Anyway, the best in slot weapons for my supports increased Raiden's nuke damage by 21%, a formidable but not too insane boost in damage. Finally, we're going to use the Engulfing Lightning at Refinement 5 and the full team of crack supports. 1,152,848 damage. This is a 29.25% increase in damage on crit in comparison to the catch. If you recall from earlier, Raiden alone saw a 62% increase in average damage with the Engulfing Lightning in comparison to the catch. But in this full team scenario, she saw less than half that at only 29.25% increase in damage. This is because of severe diminishing returns from the additional attack that the Engulfing Lightning provides, because Bennett and Sara provide a ton of attack. And this difference is even smaller if we consider the average damage done thanks to the catch's bonus crit rate. The average damage difference is now down to just 13% more damage on the Engulfing Lightning, but of course for nuking purposes average damage is not nearly as important as the biggest number you can crit fish for. But I hope this illustrates the point I'm trying to make. Anyway, let's rewind a bit and take the catch Raiden with a general use build and with 4-star weapon supports to fight the Primogeo Vishap. Yeah, this was completely trivial even with a non-nuke build for Raiden to completely annihilate the Primogeo Vishap. As we can see, Constellation 3 Raiden, even with a free-to-play weapon and quote-unquote budget supports, is starting to crush all the content in the entire game. Now that we have a general idea of how strong this Raiden is in the overworld, let's see how fast Raiden with the catch and supports as quote-unquote budget supports can clear Abyss 12. Unfortunately, due to the fact that my supports aren't rocking their best damage options, they cannot clear the first waves themselves without Raiden. As such, Raiden just quickly disposes of the first wave and then we wait for her cooldown to come back for the second wave. However, once her burst was back up, well, she managed to one-shot both the large Rift Hounds even with the catch and budget supports. As for 12-2-1, well, Raiden did a casual 486,357 damage to both the Rune Guards. With better cards, this is absolutely one-shottable. And you've probably noticed that this Raiden, in specific scenarios, is in speedrunning territory. Even with just the catch and budget supports, Raiden dumpstered this in a meager 9 seconds. Last and the least is 12-3-1. These robots have less health than the Rune Graders and were effortlessly one-shot by Raiden sporting the catch in just 8 seconds. As we can see, Constellation 3 Raiden, even with budget supports, is an absolute monster, being as good as many other 5-star DPS characters even when they are at Constellation 6. If you are a bit doubtful on the sheer insane power of Constellation 2 to 3 Raiden, hopefully this video demonstrates otherwise. And fun fact, I've spent roughly 20,000 resin on the Emblem of Severed Fates dungeon, but that will hopefully give you an idea of how much farming I did for her. Anyway, in my opinion, getting Constellation 3 Raiden is the single best primo to power ratio in the entire game. For example, getting a Constellation 0 Ganyu, then a Constellation 0 Ayaka, and a Constellation 0 Xiao could have instead been put into getting 3 more constellations on Raiden. With these 3 constellations, Raiden is already able to one-shot most things and one-cycle nearly everything. So anyway, I wanted to talk about my recommendations for account power progression for your Raiden. According to this chart, Constellation 1 provides a modest 12% more damage on Raiden for the beginning of an Abyss Chamber. Meanwhile, Constellation 2 provides a colossal 43% increase to her damage in comparison to Constellation 1, and Constellation 3 provides another 18% more damage on top of her Constellation 2. By Constellation 3, Raiden is doing 88% more damage, or nearly twice as much damage, as her Constellation 0 counterpart. As we saw with a full team, the attack buff on the Engulfing Lightning suffers from diminishing returns, so I highly recommend going for Constellation 3 before even considering the Engulfing Lightning. And of course, constellations have the added benefit of having guarantees, unlike the weapon banner, which you could end up needing to spend up to 210 pulls for a single weapon. After Constellation 3 though, it might be worth considering the Engulfing Lightning, but frankly, at Refinement 1 in a full team scenario, the Engulfing Lightning is barely any better than the catch, because again, diminishing returns on attack and the catch's bonus crit rate. So if you do manage to get Constellation 3, just give her a try with the catch and see if you're happy with her performance. Now if you're a whale and you plan to get refinements on the Engulfing Lightning, then you'll notice a substantial power gain, especially for nuke crit fishing builds. So again, go for Constellation 3 before even considering the Engulfing Lightning. And then if you want to push her even further, then you can consider getting the Engulfing Lightning. And don't forget to smash the sponsors link down below, that helps my channel out a ton. Also, I regularly make Genshin Impact videos ranging from Caesar showcases, DPS showdowns, guide videos, and more. So be sure to smash the subscribe button, as it's the best and easiest way for you to support my work. Also, don't forget to like the video and leave a comment for the YouTube algorithm. As always, I appreciate every single one of you. This is I Want to Lose, signing out.